Hello, 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 and welcome to today's community event. Happy Thursday to all of us. I hope you and yours are doing fantastic. We are always delighted to have you here in these community events on this YouTube live stream. As always, we're very thrilled and always looking forward to these events as they give us a platform and the opportunity to really display our industry, the crypto space for all crypto enthusiasts, and gives us the opportunity to have a dialogue and come together as a community and even open our doors to those that are not part of the ecosystem yet, those that are still not aware of our ecosystem and want to be part of the community. You're very, very welcome. So for those that are new and are still not part of us, feel right at home, feel free to join our communities. We are very, very active on social platforms such as Telegram, Twitter, and obviously YouTube as well. And we aim and strive to always have these weekly events to ensure that we put out, we inform, we educate, and we inspire our community. An inspired and educated and informed community is a very strong community, and it goes a long way. It gives us the confidence we need to tackle all the challenges in this dynamic space, and it also gives us the ability to make great decisions on our own, and it also serves as a shield to FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and all these informations that we get fed by all these various platforms, right? Social media platforms. So we'll be able to discern and just pick exactly or understand exactly what's going on a global space. Like we discussed in our last community event, it's always very important to have a broad general overview and understanding of so many factors. You know, we in the crypto space, we as crypto enthusiasts, we need to invest heavily in our information education as well, right? Because there's so much to know, so much to learn to really give us a head start as we are embarking in this new innovative technology known as the blockchain technology. With that said, community, today is very exciting. As you see, the topic gave it away. We are going to look at the topic of today is sustainable and efficient platforms, ecosystems, right? And we always touch on that. We always talk about that. But today we really want to get into details, look at it from a close angle, and give it a really solid understanding and shed a serious light on it so that we really appreciate what we have, you know. But before we get to today's topic, you know, we have to come and appreciate you. Let's see who was able to make it here. And again, we are really, there's so many activities. We are a lot of people nowadays. We're really picking up, growing as a community, which is amazing. So let me briefly skim through the comments and acknowledge everybody that was able to take their time and be part of this session today. This is how we grow, and this is the importance of a community. The blockchain technology, like we see, and I'll show it later on once I acknowledged all of you, the adaptation, how blockchain technology, the way it's adapting, that's how it grows, right? You scale it by just having individuals use this new technology, adapt to this new technology. That's how its value also, becomes more and more valuable. Best example is Bitcoin right now, right? Adaptation is key. So glad to have you all here today. Let's see here. Queen Debbie says, I can't wait for yet another mind-blowing session with you, Brother Steve. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community. We see your effort. We see the hard work, the leadership, the commitment. You're very much appreciated, Queen Debbie. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community. My brother Dave says, greeting community. Hope everyone is doing great. I'm ready for another great session with our great brother Steve. Always a pleasure seeing you as well, my great brother Demo. Nice having you in the community. My brother Anto, I'm glad you stayed up for this. It's always a pleasure seeing you in the community, my brother. He says, greetings community and brother Steve. I am glad I have joined this community, and I am glad that this community emphasizes education. Education is power. Bullrun ecosystem will give us all freedom, right? community. Um, Best way to go through this. I really don't want. I'd really want us to get straight to the point today. So what we're going to do is going to change this because there's quite a bit of comments. So I don't want to miss any of these. Let's come back at the end, right? Let's come back full circle, and ensure that we go through this at the end so that we get the information fast, especially for those that will be listening to this recorded video later on, so that they can get straight to the point and they don't skip through the important topics that we're about to discuss. And then we'll take our time at the end and we'll go through all these comments later on, so we do us justice, right? So with that said, let's get to today's topic, community. I'd like us to get to today's topic. I want to just overall generally welcome all of you. Thank you for all your comments. We will read every single one of them at the end of the session as we close out. One thing I want to point out also is all the tweets are out. Bullrun, Killer Whale Survivor are out. We know exactly what to do. Let's ensure that we engage with them. We understand the power of engagement. It goes a long way. It brings awareness to our industry and to our ecosystem. And that's how we make ourselves available to others that are still not aware of our ecosystem, right? With that said, bear with me. Let me share my screen. Once more, welcome everyone. Thank you for your comments. Don't worry, we'll read through every single one of it. We just want to get to today's topic so that we can get this going, and then at the end we'll take our time and go through every single comment and greetings of all of you, right? We're becoming a large community now, and it's taking longer and longer to read through all of them at the beginning, but we will come back and read all of them, right, and answer all the questions. So if you have any feedbacks you want to add, put them there, questions, add them there, and we'll go through them at the end. With that said, please bear with me as I want to share my screen so that we can get this topic going right away. We always like to start, of course, with the overall market, right? The overall market right now, if we look at fear and greed index, is on neutral. There's a lot of uncertainty still going on, right? A lot of news, and we'll touch based on some of that. We have to always discuss the hottest events, the latest news, and all that. We'll touch all on that. There's nothing really exciting. The market is going sideways. Bitcoin is hovering between 59 and 60,000. Ethereum has dropped all the way to 2,400, but now it's coming back up to 2,500. Overall, we're up barely 1%. So it's literally going sideways as we anticipate next month's interest rate cuts, as we anticipate all the geopolitical, macroeconomic aspects that are going on in the world. And all these things affect our industry as well. This is why it's so important for us to always be on top of the news, be informed, educated, and inspired, so that we don't fall prey on any such uncertainties, or any such information won't bother us as much, right? With that said, community, let's get to some current events. Let's get to some news that is happening that is very, very important, and I'd like us to share. I'd like to share with you, right? The first event that I want us to share here is to understand that Binance, they saw a $3.4 billion worth of BTC and Ethereum leaving in the last 30 days, right? So you might ask yourself, well, why? What's the cause? What made it? What made this happen, right? And the takeaway of this article is that we need to learn how to open our own decentralized wallets. We need to own our own assets. It's very important, because if you don't own your assets and you leave them in centralized exchanges such as Binance, Coinbase, Qcoin, Kraken, and all of them, it doesn't belong to you. And let's answer the question, well, why did $3.7 billion worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum leave in just 1 month alone, right? So, of course, following the latest allegations, Binance, the leading cryptocurrency exchange, witnessed a huge number of Bitcoin and Ethereum outflows. So let's go to the reasons why. To get to the point was because many Palestinian users complained of frozen assets on the exchanges. So many Palestinians had their accounts frozen by Binance, right? And this, of course, caused a lot of FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And many other users, mostly were not even Palestinian, but just for the fact that that happened, it caused huge fear and uncertainty, and individuals just started withdrawing their funds, right? And people start to understand now that if you have your assets, your cryptocurrencies on centralized exchanges, they literally are not yours. You have no seed phrases. You have no, that don't belong to you. And the only time they belong to you if you're using a decentralized wallet, such as MetaMask, Trust Wallet. There's also a decentralized Coinbase wallet, right? So on and so forth. You have, that's why there's a saying that goes, not your key, not your assets, right? So always ensure that you have access of your own decentralized wallet, be your own bank, have access over your own assets. Don't give it into the hands of centralized exchanges. And this is what just happened. And individuals withdrew close to $4 billion worth of their just Bitcoin and Ethereum alone, let alone other assets as well, of course. But here the focus is on Bitcoin and Ethereum being the two largest assets, right? So this is also this is also most of these outflows, right? Most of these outflows claimed that Binance seized the assets of Palestine, like we said. And Binance also told that only a limited number of users have been affected. But nonetheless, a lot of people, after hearing this news, of course, they took their funds out and opened their DeFi wallet, decentralized wallet. The takeaway of this article is that we need to understand that if you have your assets on these centralized exchanges such as Binance, these assets can be frozen, or for whatever reason, just as simple as you just living in the wrong geographic region based on the current geopolitical events that are happening, right? It might not even have anything to do with you directly, that you did something indirectly, simply because you live in the wrong place at the wrong time, right? And your assets can be frozen for random reasons. So let's be aware of this. Let's heed to this and learn how to open our own wallets, and be careful as we learn how to be our own bank, take care of our own seed phrases, ensure that we carefully place them in the right place, and we don't lose them. We learn how to have access on our DeFi wallets. It's very important. Hold on to your own assets. Don't give it to third parties. Don't give it to centralized exchanges, or we might also be victims of our accounts being frozen for random reasons, right? So this is the takeaway of this article right now. And another thing that I also want to bring attention to community is this right here, right? So in 2024, so far, crypto losses due to hacks and scams have surpassed $1.2 billion just in 2024 alone, right? And this is another big issue that is really scaring off a lot of individuals, right? And a lot of individuals are literally, such news puts a bad taste in people's mouth, right? It gives our industry a bad reputation. And this, even though it doesn't, it's not the majority of things. And let's be honest, to be fair, even in the real world, in the traditional markets, a lot of hacks are happening. There's a lot of scams taking place, even worse ones, right? By even well-established institutions, right? Such as the Lehman Brothers, right? Such as Enron, and many scandals happen in the billions of dollars. So it's not just crypto. However, even in the crypto space, it being a new industry, of course, there are bad actors. There are bad actors everywhere. Even in the early days of the internet, there were a lot of new websites, a lot of new internet companies that came out that were scamming people, and it's just part of the nature of things. The takeaway of this article is, let's be careful, right? Let's learn how to be safe. Let's not click on any random links, right? Using our the mobile phone that we have our wallets on. Let's ensure that we don't copy our seed phrases on computers or screenshot them and on our mobile phones. Let's just be aware that these things are real, they're happening, and they can affect us. In the crypto space, of course, you're here to make life-changing gains. However, it's also important to keep those gains safe, right? So I just always want to highlight and the importance of learning how to keep your seed phrases safe, how to not click on random links. If you see any scammers in your DM and they want to they're asking you for your seed phrases, or they're asking you to send them tokens, or whatever the case may be, ensure that you always take a screenshot of their tag, share it with the community so we are all aware, and then we can all go and report this individual and keep our community safe like this. Security is very important to us. This is why we ensured that before we deployed all our smart contracts, we ensured that they were all audited. And security is very important, because this is how you put community first, right? You have to ensure that you protect the community by any means necessary, by informing them, educating them on security measures, by having our smart contracts audited, right? And ensuring that we have a platform that is sustainable, that is efficient, that is built for the long term, right? And we'll get to that, since that's today's topic, right? So the takeaway is that, community, let's be very, very aware. Like we say, the crypto industry has surpassed more than 1.2 billion US dollars in losses this year alone, due to 154 hacks and scams, right? So there's really nothing more to say than this. Let's be aware, let's be informed, and let's know how to properly protect our DeFi wallets. With much power comes much responsibility as well, right? So to have the power of owning our own assets and being our own bank also comes a lot of responsibility as well. So let's be aware of that, community. So with this, let's get to today's topic. There is quite a bit to discuss, to be honest. So I'd like us to get right to it. And there is a community member in the community that shared with us, and I'm sure most of us already read this article. And it's really a powerful article that I really wanted us to dedicate this topic today, being sustainable and efficient in today's live stream today. N2B2S is one of the community members that have been around for a while, and very active on various platforms. I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, are familiar with this individual. And they took the time to share what they read with the community. And this is what a decentralized community is all about, right? We are all about informing each other, sharing what we read, what we heard, putting it out there so we all can be on the same page. It's all part of the education part, right? And it's all part of the community building. So we really appreciate these gestures, and it's just one of them. There are many, of course, many other community members that also do the same. So we just want to encourage the community to continuously, do this, because it really helps everyone else, and it also makes a great topic for today as well, right? So the tweet read, "This is exactly what the Bullrun ecosystem has built, right? A decentralized, deflationary, liquid and sustainable ecosystem with sustainable staking that rewards its stakers in USDC that can withstand the test of time," right? This is great, and we appreciate your feedback, N2B2S. Thank you for acknowledging and recognizing the efficiency, the sustainability of the ecosystem, and we are very thrilled and excited to have you with us in our community. We appreciate all your efforts, your input, whatever, your contributions that you're putting in. It goes a long way. But now let's get to the article itself. This is today's topic, right? So today's topic is, like we said, it's all about sustainable and efficient platforms. It's very important. It's vital. And those that have been in the industry, or rather in our ecosystem long enough, in our community, you'll understand that this has been a topic that we've been discussing from day one. We always talk about efficiency, sustainability, always look for challenges, turn those challenges into opportunities, and then turn those opportunities into solutions, right? That's always our ethos. That's how we move, and that's how we would develop this platform in the first place. So let's get to this. So Vitalik Buterin targets DeFi, decentralized finance projects, on Ethereum, right? And he says he does not respect unsustainable protocols, right? So let's go back. For those who don't know who Vitalik Buterin is, right? Just Vitalik Buterin is a computer programmer, right? And he's a Russian-Canadian computer programmer, an entrepreneur, and a crypto enthusiast, crypto philanthropist, who is the co-founder of Ethereum, right? He's the co-founder of Ethereum and actually the face of Ethereum. And he actually started by writing for the Bitcoin magazine. He was one of the Bitcoin developers at the beginning, before he and his other 6 other co-founders decided to move on and develop Ethereum, right? So he was named one of the 40 most influential people in the world economy under the age of 40. So this young man, and this was done by Fortune magazine. So this young man is barely 30 years old, right? And is really the face of Ethereum, and he's one of the most influential individuals in the world economy. So he knows what he's talking about, obviously. He's a smart individual and very influential. So when he says that he doesn't respect unsustainable protocols on the Ethereum blockchain, we need to heed to that. We need to read that. We need to understand that, because this is now not Mama Wino saying it. This is not Steve saying it, right? This is one of the faces and the co-founder of Ethereum blockchain itself is saying that he does not respect unsustainable protocols. So let's read further, because it's a very interesting article that I want us to understand. We always been discussing about sustainability and efficiency, but now we're really going to dissect and really zoom in and really understand the importance of it, right? So anyway, Ethereum co-founder Vitalik thinks decentralized finance projects need to demonstrate what? That they are useful in a sustainable way, right? As we know, there are so many protocols, cryptocurrencies out there that are just, we all know that they're not here for the long term, right? They're just here for the season. And this is very frustrating for Vitalik, because his vision wasn't to develop decentralized platforms such as Ethereum for just mere meme coins that add no value or have no longevity, efficiency, or sustainability, or any platform that is not adding value to the community, right? And this has been very frustrating to him. So he's like, that's why he says that DeFi platforms need to work on developing useful and sustainable platforms, right? But nonetheless, without sacrificing the core principles like permissionlessness and decentralization, right? Like we talked about, permissionlessness basically just means that you can open your wallet right now. You don't need no permission from no government body, no institutions. You don't have to meet certain tests or requirements or have a certain credit score to open a DeFi wallet. You can just open it and be part of this economy, right? That's basically what it means. And another thing that I just want us to highlight here also is that he continuously went on and said, things that I don't respect are basically things whose attractiveness come from some temporary source that has no sustainability, right? So here's an individual that says that if your platform is just based on temporary attractiveness and it has no sustainability, he doesn't respect it, right? And he went on and talked about the last bull cycle, right? I felt no excitement towards the 2021 era liquidity farming craze because it was obvious that it came from token issuances that are fundamentally temporary, right? And if you've been in our community for a while, you'll understand that one of our challenges that we address is unsustainable staking distributions and inflation, right? So those are the things that we really stress on. Those are the 4. All 4 is lack of liquidity, unsustainable staking distributions, inflation, and efficient use of volume. Those are the 4 challenges in the industry that are plaguing us. And in this article alone, we see inflation, we see unsustainable staking distributions is what we're seeing right here. Inflation and unsustainable staking distributions, right? And also, if we read even further, if people tell me, now he's talking, you can get a good yield by parking your coins here. Basically, he's talking about staking. Like if you stake your tokens with us, with this particular project S, will give you a good yield, right? So he's always asking himself, my question always is, where does the yield come from? This is the most famous question that everybody needs to ask themselves. Before you stake in a staking platform, ask yourself, where does the yield come from, right? If you don't know, then you are the yield, mostly, right? So who are the people on the other side of the transaction, right? And he's asking this because he understands that to stake ETH, you need validators. And these validators are humans like you and me. So basically there's a human on the other side that you don't even know. And you have to delegate, meaning you have to give your seed phrases and your assets to this individual and trust them that they'll do the right thing, right? But with us, for example, there is no other person on the other side. There are no other people. It's a smart contract, right? Our staking platform is a smart contract. You don't deal with humans, you're dealing with a smart contract, right? And who are the other people on the other side who are paying the yield, right? So, and then he goes on to say, in those cases where there is a specific answer to the question, that there is a good reason to believe will remain true in 5 years, right? So what he's basically saying is that always ask yourself these questions. Where does the yield come from before you stake? Who are the people on the other side, and who are paying the yield? You know, who is it? So this sets the stage for today's topic, community, because this just talks about so many things. It touches many things, and we realize once more that this industry is lacking in inflation. It's inflationary, unsustainable staking distributions and staking platforms, right? Liquidity, lack thereof, and efficient use of volume, right? But this article alone, we can identify two challenges: inflation and unsustainable staking platforms and staking distributions. Let's move on and look at liquidity, right? But before we go to liquidity, let's address some points here. Let's go back. He was talking about he doesn't respect, or basically things that whose attractiveness come from some temporary source that has no sustainability, right? And then he also goes ahead and says that liquidity farming craze because it was obvious that it came from token issuance that are fundamentally temporarily. Let's address this. And to address this, we need to look at Aave and Uniswap, right? They're the two largest platforms. We're not picking on any platforms here. We're just trying to make a point that Vitalik is actually addressing, right? So let's start with Uniswap. And the topic here is that they're having issuances that come from some temporary sources that are unsustainable. Keep this in mind. This is very important. And also that are fundamentally temporarily. So this is based on staking platforms, right? Because he's talking about if somebody asks him about yield, I'll give you a good yield. Where does the yield come from? So let's find out. Okay, let's look at Uniswap, for example. First of all, if we come to Uniswap, let's understand one thing. Uni token has been only around for, next month it will be 4 years, right? It came out 16th of September 2020. So 4 years. Why is this so important to understand? Is because the tokenomics, right? If you look at Uniswap, you quickly realize that you see this in blue. This is the reserves for the community. These are staking rewards put aside for the community, right? And 4 years ago, almost to the month, 4 years ago, it was at 60%, as you see here, right? And keep in mind, I want us to really understand this. 4 years ago, it was at 60%. What did Vitalik say here? It doesn't respect distributions that token issuances that are fundamentally temporarily, right? Things that are temporarily. And also ask yourself, where does the yield come from? So let's find out, where does the yield come from? We understand that it was issuance, token issuance, just like Vitalik said, right? Issuance it came from token issuances that are fundamentally temporarily. How is this temporarily? It started with 60%, right? Now, if we go to Uniswap, that 60% now dropped to 38%. We realized quickly that, oh, this is really temporarily and it's running out. It's unsustainable. What's happening? It was at 60 before, now it keeps dropping further until they will run out of distributions, right? This is what Vitalik is talking about, that the rewards, staking rewards, are based on token issuances, like Uniswap here as an example, right? It started at 60%, like we see here in blue. But 4 years later, we realized that, oh, it's dropped now down to 38%, right? And that's the beauty of the blockchain. You can always go and verify things on Etherscan, right? You can look these things up. And the way you can look it up for your reference, you go to Uniswap, right? Just so you know, you can verify what I'm saying. And you scroll down here and you'll see the contract address. So what you do is you just click on it and it will bring you to Uniswap on Etherscan. You go to holders. Once you get to holders, you'll see the top wallet. This is it. This is the blue, this is this right here, right? This is this. It started at 60%. Now they're down, as you see, to 38%, and it keeps shrinking, right? It keeps dropping. This is unsustainable. And this is, you're giving yield through token issuances, right? So this is something that is unsustainable. And to be very fair, Vitalik is saying something that Ethereum is doing also, right? We all know that Ethereum is also issuing more ETH, right? So it's like throwing a stone in a glass house, because Ethereum does the same thing. If you stake Ethereum, you receive more Ethereum as well, right? Just to be fair, you know. But let's look at Aave now, right? And why are we looking at Aave? Let's look at Aave. Aave has the same, is facing the same issue, because if you come here, if you stake Aave, you receive even more Aave, right? You see they're giving you this is a staking contract, right? This is the staking contract. You give out Aave, you receive even more Aave, right? And this is the rewards contract. And how do you get here? You go to Aave. I want us to learn how to do all of this, right? So you can do your own research. You come to Aave on CoinGecko, right? And then you come here to circulating supply, right? And then you see rewards contract, and then you just click on it, and it will bring you on Etherscan. Once you get to Etherscan, you click this right here, right? And then boom, you're here. You can see it. You can verify for yourself. This is the rewards contract for Aave, right? And why are we focusing on this? It's because now we understand, first of all, where does the yield come from? Now we know where the yield comes from, right? We saw that the yield, in the case of Uniswap, for example, it comes from the early distributions, token issuance. And this is exactly what Vitalik was talking about, right? It came from token issuances that are fundamentally temporarily. And we saw how temporarily they are, because it dropped. Within 4 years, it dropped 22%. So if you do the math, that's more than 5% a year, actually 5.4%. 5.5% of the supply of the rewards are being taken out every 4 years, every year. So that means if we go back here and there's 38 left, that means within 7 years. Within 7 years, community, Aave is going to run out, or rather Uniswap is going to run out of the distributions within the next 7 years, right? And then what? And this is exactly what Vitalik was talking about. It doesn't want this farming craze that people are just taking and they're receiving this issuance of tokens that are fundamentally temporarily and will run out eventually, right? So always ask yourself, where does the yield come from? Always ask yourself that question. And also pay attention to who are on the other side of the transaction and who is paying you the yield, right? So this is very important to understand, that you need, especially for a staking platform, it needs to be sustainable, it needs to be efficient, right? And this is one of the challenges in the space: unsustainable staking platforms and staking distributions. Very, very important to understand. And it's great that it comes from a respected individual like this, that is really stressing on bringing sustainability to protocols, right? It's very important. And we are very fortunate that we were forward thinking and we developed a platform literally based on efficiency and sustainability, and based on the challenges that other cryptocurrencies and other staking platforms are plagued with challenges. And those challenges, we looked at them as opportunities and we brought out solutions for them in the form of developing a sustainable staking platform that is issuing efficient staking distributions. We will get to that. Right now, let's look at our current challenges that we face in the industry. And then at the end, we will zoom in and then look at how our ecosystem is addressing all these challenges, right? So now that we've covered unsustainable staking distributions and inflation, let's look at our third challenge that we're facing, and that's liquidity, right? You might be like, oh, Steve, liquidity here, liquidity there. Why is liquidity so important? Why is Bullrun ecosystem so focused on liquidity? Like we discussed briefly in our last community event, we need to understand information and education is key. Once you understand that liquidity is a crucial aspect of an economy, you will really appreciate the fact, the reason why we are focusing so much on retaining liquidity in various ways. So first thing, you need to understand that for an economy to run smoothly, you need transactions. And without transactions, you can't have liquidity, right? We always say that, but don't take my word for it. Let's read this article. First thing, takeaway here is that liquidity is a crucial aspect of an economy. If you take anything away from this article, take this away. Liquidity is a crucial aspect of an economy, right? So financial markets are pivotal for the functioning of a capitalistic economy, right? Capitalistic economy basically just means that it's an open market. Everybody can compete in an open market, right? Whoever has the best strategies, the best ideas, the best mechanisms, the best tokenomics should win. It's a capitalistic economy, right? It's the survival of the fittest, basically. So serving as a vital infrastructure for the flow of capital and liquidity, right? Now, these are important items that we really need to understand. What is capital? What is liquidity? Let's identify these aspects, right? In this case, they are put as two different items, right? But we'll quickly realize that in our ecosystem, these two are actually one. We will realize why. So capital, as an example, to make an example of what capital is, for example, real estate, right? Capital are things that are not liquid, right? That you, for example, a real estate, you have to find a buyer, you have to list it first, you have to screen those buyers if they're credit worthy. It takes time. It may take months or years until you liquidate it. But the good thing about capitals are the other word also is collateral. You can still borrow money, borrow credit against capital or against collateral, right? So that's another aspect that you can use the capital for, right? And obviously the opposite of capital is liquidity. Liquidity are things such as ETFs, they're very liquid, stocks are very liquid, cryptocurrencies are supposed to be liquid, right? Or cash, of course, cash is very liquid. So these are the two separate things. Remember that I said that they are listing them separately, right? Capital and liquidity as two separate things. But in the Bullrun ecosystem, this is one and the same, because look at capital, look at BRL as your capital, right? It's your asset. And this asset obviously is liquid. This is why we always stress on liquidity, right? So you have a liquid asset in the form of BRL that you can cash out anytime, right? And also this liquid asset, it's not just liquid, but it's also scarce, right? So its supply keeps shrinking. And this liquid and scarce asset also gives you USDC distributions for securing the ecosystem and to bring stability to it by staking, right? So you have a scarce liquid asset, right, that is giving you a cash flow in the form of USDC distributions. I mean, there's no asset out there like it, right? And this is exactly what's needed. This is what it's meant by either in an economy, you need either capital and liquidity. Actually, both. You need capital and liquidity, right? But you can have either. And with our ecosystem, you have both. And you actually even have a cash cow in the form of USDC distributions when you stake them. So you have a third aspect to this, right? So let's continue. What we also need to understand is, what does this do? It provides a structured environment for buyers and sellers to engage in transactions involving assets such as bonds, stocks, and derivatives. So liquidity, capital and liquidity provides a structured environment for buyers and sellers, right? To engage in what? It's all about transactions. The economy is all about transactions, and you can't have an economy without liquidity. So let's always understand that, right? With liquidity comes transactions. The more liquidity you have, the more transactions you get. And let's verify that as well. Remember how we discussed how the more liquidity you have, the more transactions you have. We verified this by looking at Tether, for example, right? If you look at the volume of Tether here, it's at 53 billion, right? 53.4 billion. That's more than Bitcoin and Ethereum volume combined, right? If you add these together, let's call this 15 and let's call this 33. That's 48, right? It's still 5 billion less in volume than just Tether alone. And even though Tether only has 118 billion in volume, I mean in market cap, right? So, and Bitcoin and Ethereum combined have close to 1.5 billion, but still they are so illiquid, and this is why they don't have as much volume, trading volume, like the more liquid asset, like the crypto, like the stablecoin Tether, right? And also, like we showed you before, you can come over here and under this tab right here, you can see how high the liquidity is right now. The closer to 100, the more liquid it is, right? So it's at 44.8, so almost 45. And keep this in mind. But if we go to Ethereum and Bitcoin, we quickly realize that this number is way smaller, 4.8, right, on the Ethereum side. And then Bitcoin is usually the half of Ethereum, right? So 2.8, right? So this also is another aspect that shows you how illiquid Bitcoin and Ethereum are. And this also justifies the reason why their trading volume, even combined, is still not matching that of one cryptocurrency with 15 times less the market cap than them. So market cap doesn't matter. It doesn't do you anything. Market cap is irrelevant. What matters is liquidity, because liquidity dictates how much volume you'll get. The more liquid you are, the more volume you get, right? And this brings us to another topic. And our topic, another challenge, is that the fourth and final challenge is using your volume efficiently, right? But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's close out liquidity part first. So another thing I want us to read here also is that a takeaway is that financial markets, what do? They facilitate the allocation of resources in an economy. How do they do that? They connect those with excess funds, such as investors and lenders, to those in need of additional capital, like businesses and entrepreneurs, right? So basically, liquidity facilitates the trading of those who are actually putting the funds here and those who want to lend it or just, use it in some other ways. So liquidity plays a major role to facilitate transactions from the buyers and the sellers, right? So this ensures that funds are available where they are most needed and can be put to productive use, right? Now, the final line we want to read here is that one of the key functions of a financial market, what is it? It is to provide liquidity, right? So ask yourself this: if the functions of a market is to provide liquidity, don't you think that ecosystems, platforms, protocols are supposed to be having mechanisms in place to retain it? How can you claim you want to be a market participant? How can you claim that you want to be traded well, you want a token to be traded, and you're not even understanding the basic concept of economy, which is to provide liquidity? How is your ecosystem providing liquidity in an efficient and sustainable manner? So you quickly realize that many just don't understand even the fundamentals of how economies work, right? In an economy to work, you need to provide liquidity, right? You need liquidity. And this is a basic concept that we have implemented, and 99% of projects out here don't do that. And we will look at that in detail, right? Let's complete this article. So another thing also, what does this mean? This means that making it easier for participants to convert their assets into what? Into cash. And what did we learn? What is cash? Let's go back here. It's not capital. Cash is liquidity, right? So you want to enable your traders or your community members to be able to convert their assets into cash, right? And this is very important. And let's close this out. Liquidity is essential for the smooth operation of financial systems, as it allows for quick and easy transactions. Here we are again. It's all about transactions, right? Enabling investors to respond promptly to changes in the market conditions or personal circumstances. What makes your asset, your ecosystem, relevant, special, unique is this. First of all, it's providing liquidity, right? You need to provide liquidity. That's the first thing. Secondly, you need to, your participants are supposed to be able to convert their assets into cash. Secondly. Thirdly, liquidity is essential for a smooth operation of the financial system, as it allows for what? Quick and easy transactions, right? So that the investors can promptly change based on the market conditions. You want a liquid asset that people can enter and exit with ease, right? They don't have to wait, or there is no liquidity, they have to fight over it. It's very, very important to have such fundamentals, right? And in order to understand and appreciate the Bullrun ecosystem and how it works, you need to understand basic economics, right? And these are the reasons why we do these weekly events. We inform, we educate, and we inspire, right? Because if you understand, we as crypto enthusiasts, we need to know how economy works. We need to know how the business cycles work. We need to know the effect of inflation and of interest rates. We need to understand that interest rates affect liquidity, right? And we need to understand that liquidity affects either boom cycle or bust cycle. We need to understand fundamentals of tokenomics, of token distributions, of efficient use of them, and sustainable uses of them. We have so much to learn and understand. And if you do, you will appreciate our ecosystem. So that's the takeaway. Liquidity plays a crucial role in an economy. It's very important. And the whole idea of an asset is it's either capital or it's liquid, right? We have three of them. It's not just, the Bullrun is not just capital. It's not just an asset, but it's liquid as well, right? So you have a liquid asset that is also scarce because we have a banning mechanism, right? It's not inflationary. And then on top of that, it's also sustainable and efficient as well. So that's very important to understand. And then on top of this, it's giving you a cash flow in the form of USDC distributions. So not only do you have, or do you meet exactly what this is important for, you have to ensure that the investors have liquidity, which the participants can convert their assets into cash immediately. And you also understand that our goal is to provide liquidity in the first place, right? And we should provide that by having an efficient platform that is sustainable, efficient, and that retains liquidity with every trade by using its volume efficiently, right? So now we are going full circle. Remember how we started with this article? We talked about unsustainable protocols, with unsustainable staking distributions that are causing inflation, right? Those are the two challenges. And then we looked at the other two challenges, which is liquidity, right? And inefficient use of volume is now coming, right? These are the four challenges that our ecosystem is addressing, right? And we just highlighted the importance of liquidity. The purpose of a platform should be to allocate the resources to a healthy economy. And what are those resources? Capital and liquidity, right? And also we need to be able to give access to the markets and provide liquidity for them. And also our participants are supposed to be able to convert their assets into cash as quickly as possible. Liquidity is essential for a smooth operation in a financial system. These are basic fundamentals. So each time, community, we talk about liquidity, always keep this in mind, that without liquidity, there is no economy. Liquidity is crucial. It's a very crucial aspect to an economy. And it's part of what Vitalik was always frustrated about. If you don't have liquidity that is sustainable and efficiently retained, you have an unsustainable protocol. And this is what Vitalik is talking about in this article, that he does not respect such protocols, right? So we can be thrilled and excited and enthusiastic about the fact that we are not part of those protocols that Vitalik Buterin does not respect, right? And this is very bullish for us, because eventually we'll get his attention because we are the platform that is literally solving those four challenges that are being looked at in this article, at least two of them in this article, which is unsustainable staking distributions and unsustainable platform, and inflation as well. And in this second article, we clearly see that even though the basic economics tells us that liquidity is a crucial part of an economy, we still realize that majority of the cryptocurrencies, if we look from the bottom down, even just the top 5, the top 3, we realize that Bitcoin is not retaining liquidity, Ethereum is not retaining liquidity, Binance neither, Solana neither, right? So this just shows you how inefficient this market still is. It also displays the fact that we're so early in this industry that many people are still not focusing on fundamentals. And last community event, we discussed how fundamentals are the ones that will keep you on the number 1 spot, number 2 spot, number 4, 5 spot, right? These spots are not guaranteed. If you're not efficient, sustainable, if you're not focusing on solutions, you can't maintain these high ranks, right? You can't. It's just not possible. We looked at Kodak as an example. They had a 90% dominance in the photographic industry, right? Photographic industry. And then they ended up being bankrupt and taken over by Nikon and Canon, right? So only because these top 5, top 10 cryptocurrencies are where they are today, because due to their inefficiencies and unsustainability, and not focusing on solutions for their challenges, they're not going to be around long, right? They're here because they have a merit of having the first mover advantage, right? That's very important. If you're the first one to do something major, you get that head start of everybody else, and then everybody else has to play catch up. And this is what we are doing right now. We are going ahead of everybody else by ensuring that we are developing sustainable protocol, right? That has a sustainable staking platform, and are sustainable USDC distributions, we ensure that we have the fast mover advantage by issuing our assets being capital and liquidity, right? And also giving out a cash flow in the form of USDC distributions. We also ensure that our platform provides liquidity, right? And that our participants of the platform can convert the assets into cash as quickly as possible. We also understand that liquidity is essential for a smooth operation of a financial system, right? So these are aspects that we all implemented in our ecosystem. And this is all you see right here, right? We are, as you see, liquidity is being retained. We are scarce, not just deflationary. And USDC distributions are also being issued. And now the question here is that let's answer this question. Let's answer this question. This is very important, especially for those that are new in the community and still don't understand. Where does the yield come from? Where does the yield come from? When you're staking a token, ask yourself, where does the yield come from? And this brings us to the point where we discuss about the efficient use of volume, right? So like we discussed and saw with Uniswap, if we want to answer the question, where does the yield come from? We quickly realize that they come from token issuance, right? And this is exactly what Vitalik was talking about, right? That they come from token issuances that are what? Fundamentally temporarily. And we saw what that means if you're fundamentally temporarily, because you're running dry. It's no longer 60%, like we identified this. We already went through this. It's now down to 38%, and it keeps shrinking. 7 years from now, they'll run out. And then what? This is what you call, this is what Vitalik was talking about here, right? Token issuances that are fundamentally temporarily. And where does the yield come from? Now we know where they come from token issuances, right? And same with Aave, right? Aave, they're giving you even more Aave, and they're also running down. They're running out. They only have 752,000 left, Aave left. And once this runs out, it's over. It's not sustainable, right? It's not efficient. Now, let's answer the same question with us. Where does our staking distribution, where does it come from? And where does the burning come from? And where does the liquidity come from? They all come from the same place, right? And this is from their volume. And this brings us now to the next topic, right? This brings us to the next topic. And we are not picking on Bitcoin either, right? We just like to use Bitcoin because it's the largest cryptocurrency. It's the example. If you talk about cryptocurrency, everybody talks about Bitcoin, right? So this is why we're discussing Bitcoin. So keep in mind the topic here is volume, right? And where does the staking, where does the yield come from is the question, right? So we identified and answered that question. In the form of Aave and Uniswap, it's from token issuance. They just issue more tokens, causing more inflation, right? So they are very inflationary, and we know what inflation does. Inflation brings unsustainability, right? And this is not efficient. So if we stick with, let's stick with Aave. Let's just stick with Aave or Uniswap. Let's take Uniswap, for example. Let's leave Bitcoin alone for now. Let's take Uniswap, right? Uniswap right now has a volume of 85 million, right? 85.8 million. And if we come here and look at Aave's liquidity, let's pick Aave here. Let's look at Aave. So Aave has a volume of actually 250 million. It's 250 million. And Aave's liquidity is 33 million, right? Let's round it to 34 million. Keep in mind, what are we answering here? We're answering the question, where does the yield come from, right? And we identified that it comes from token issuance. So it's causing inflation. That's one of the challenges we are addressing, right? So now we want to make an example, right? Our yield, let's answer where our yield come from. Our yield come from volume, right? And let's go to our staking platform here. This is our staking platform, right? And if you read here carefully, it says stake your BRL tokens and receive USDC distributions, right? And now this second line is the most important line out of all of this. These are based on the volume. We need to understand this. This is what you call efficient and sustainable. It's not based on issuance, token issuance, like Vitalik is talking about here, right? It's not based, it doesn't come from token issuances that are temporarily, right? Fundamentally temporary. They don't come from there. So these are things that are causing inflation and are also unsustainable, right? But ours come from volume, trading volume. These are based on the volume and are dynamic depending on the market conditions, period. This means this is a sustainable and efficient staking platform. The more trades, the more USDC distributions. The more liquidity, the more transactions, right? So our ecosystem is based on trading volume. We are using our trading volume efficiently. And how do you generate trading volume? We just had a whole lesson about that. It's through liquidity, right? Liquidity is essential for a smooth operation of a financial system. And liquidity is a crucial aspect of an economy, right? Because we are accumulating liquidity, community, this enables us, because we are accumulating this liquidity, it gives us the opportunity to trade more, to have a higher trading volume. Does this sound familiar? We just discussed this earlier. We just looked at a very liquid cryptocurrency in the form of stablecoin. And we saw how, even though it has 15 times smaller market cap than Ethereum and Bitcoin combined, it has a higher trading volume than the top two cryptocurrencies combined, right? Why? Because it's liquid. So liquidity gives you a higher trading volume, even though your market cap is small, right? So this is why we always stress on accumulating liquidity in various ways, not just through trading volume, by the way, right? It's also through staking the 10% and receiving USDC, and we keep buybacks and staking even more to receive even more USDC to generate even more volume, right? And also another part is through the boosters, the staking boosters, right? The revenue generated through these boosters also go towards liquidity. If you only stake your BRL tokens, you only receive 70%, like you see here. You'll receive 70% of your distributions. However, if you purchase your up to 5 and stake your NFTs right here, stake your NFTs, you receive 100% of your USDC distributions. And the revenue generated through these NFTs right here, like you see, by staking 5 boosters, you unlock 100% of your USDC distributions. So the revenue generated also goes to the liquidity pool. And then finally, through the community itself, like we can do the same thing that this is doing, this smart contract is doing, right? We ourselves, with our own wallets, we can do buybacks through the USDC distributions that we receive and stake even more, right? We can do that also. And that's called the bulldozer effect. That generates even more volume. And by doing that, it accumulates even more liquidity, it burns even more tokens, and the USDC distributions are added as well, right? And to really bring the point home, let's look at our staking platform. First of all, let's look at Aave, right? If we look at Aave, we quickly realize that, let's go one back. If we look at Aave here, let's go back to Aave. There's one thing I want to highlight here. You come to Aave, you click here, you go to holders, and then you see the top wallet is their staked Aave, This is the amount of Aave that is being staked, right? And it's 17.8% is being staked of Aave. Keep in mind, this is the largest lending platform in the entire industry. This is a very popular platform. Don't take my word for it, you know. Don't take my word for it. Don't trust, verify. So if we come here, there you go, Aave. It's only behind Lido and Eigenlayer. Eigenlayer is actually a whole blockchain, right? And Lido holds over 30%, 33% of all staked ETH, and their total locked value is over 25 billion. So these are obviously the largest. But then after them, Aave. Aave is actually the third largest application protocol in the entire industry. So we're not talking about a small meme coin. We're talking about a large lending platform, the third largest application in the entire industry, that holds close to 12 billion assets under management, right? And they only have, if we look at here, 17% staked, 17.7% staked. Why? Ask yourself, why do they have such a low staking percentage, right? Why is it so low? It's because the fundamentals, right? Smart money doesn't stake Aave. Smart money doesn't stake Uniswap, right? Because they're inflationary. Keep in mind, they're causing inflation, right? They have a reserve here of tokens that they keep adding into their circulating supply, causing inflation, making the value, bringing down the value of the other tokens, right? And this is why smart money doesn't stake Aave, and only 17% is being staked, right? So this just shows that the trust level for this token, for this protocol, is extremely low, right? As a reference, let's check how much ours are staked. Like if you come to Bullrun, same thing, number one wallet is our staking contract, right? And you quickly realize that we have 66.7% staked, right? So that's like almost four times that of Aave, right? And we are not in the top 3 most used protocols. We have not gone through a bull market yet. We only have 1,100 holders, right? We don't have hundreds of thousands of holders. So what will happen if we have 100,000 holders? I wonder what this percentage will be, right? So this is just to highlight that we have a very high staked percentage. This just shows how much trust the community has of the ecosystem, and smart money likes to stake platforms that are actually scarce, right? And if we go back to here, let's look at another thing I want to highlight about our staking platform. Also, there are no staking or unstaking fees. You're not being charged whenever you stake or unstake. You just pay your usual Ethereum transaction fees. Also, there is no time lock period either. You don't have to wait for weeks or months before you can unstake your tokens. They're always yours. You can stake, unstake however you want. There is no limit to them either. You can stake 0.1 BRL if that's all you have. There is no minimum either. Okay? So these are for any other staking and staking fees. Volume, efficiency, based on all trading or how it is. I would like to look at the burning. Started with tokens, right? And right now, the push. Let's go with 1 million. Hello, community. I hope I'm back. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me share my screen again. Community, can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Great, great, great. Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for the feedback. I'm if I'm in front, I don't see the studio, so I'm really glad that you can give me the. We've been having some technical issues here in our building, so sorry about that. So what I was saying, back to what I was saying, is I was discussing how um, we need, in order to, the topic of today, I was literally summarizing, right? We were summarizing that it's important to have a useful and a sustainable platform protocol. It's very important. You need to be aware of that. And also very important is, and this is as far as sustainable staking distributions and inflation. Then we went ahead and looked at liquidity. Liquidity plays a crucial role in the economy, right? And for us, our work as a platform is to provide liquidity, right? We need to provide liquidity to the participants in the industry. Also, we need to enable our holders to be able to convert their assets into cash immediately. Also, liquidity is an essential form for smooth operations in a financial system. All of this is what we are addressing in our ecosystem. This is why we lay emphasis on banning tokens, removing our supply from total supply, retaining liquidity, and also issuing USDC distributions, and not tokens that we put aside to inflate even more. This is the reason why, and this is what sets us apart in the industry, right? And if we go back and look at where we stand, and we really like to show this, and most of us are familiar with this already. These are the biggest cryptocurrencies in the world, right? Based on their staked value or staked percentage, right? Right now, Sui is the number one with 81%, and then Aptos 77, Saga 74, and Celestia with 69, right? We come right at the 5th place. We're in the top 5 most staked cryptocurrencies. We beat Cardano and we beat Solana and other ones as well, right? Avalanche and Tron as well, right? And Solana is the 5th largest cryptocurrency in the space. Cardano is the 11th largest cryptocurrency in the space. We are not even listed on CoinMarketCap, but yet we beat Cardano and Solana. We haven't even gone through a bull market yet, and we're already sitting at 66%. Let's go look at it, right? We're sitting at 66%. So 66% of our supply is being staked right here, right? And based on this list of the most staked tokens globally in the world, we're on the number 5. We are right above Cardano, right? And Solana. So this just shows you that we're on the right track as far as the most staked token in the space. And also, if you look at our liquidity to market cap ratio, we have a very, very healthy liquidity as well if you compare it to the market cap, right? And this is also very important because, like we discussed earlier, you need our aim, or the goal for a working ecosystem is always to be the provider of liquidity. And we do that by not just, like we discussed, retaining it through taxes, but also by doing buybacks and staking, and also doing through this the revenue that we generate through these NFTs, right? So that's exactly what this topic is about. Now, one final question we need to ask ourselves, right? And this will really even bring the point even further home. What happens if you trade BRL? What happens if you trade the Bullrun token? And what happens if you trade, let's say, Aave token, right? Let's leave Aave. Let's give Aave a rest. Let's go back to Bitcoin. What happens if you trade Bitcoin? Let's first look at that. If you trade Bitcoin, what's really happening to maintain the sustainability that Vitalik was talking about here, right? We want sustainable protocols, not unsustainable protocols. So let's look at an example. Let's look at Bitcoin, and then we'll zoom in and look at Bullrun, right? So what happens to if you trade Bitcoin? What really happens? First of all, let's look at the volume. volume is 32 billion. So this is a one-day volume of 32 billion, right? So what happens whenever Bitcoin is traded? This will be a very short one because literally nothing happens, right? It's just based on the price. Price go up and down, up and down. And this is why people are so thrilled and excited about Bitcoin's price, because this is the basically the highlight, right? Bitcoin's price is the highlight, right? It doesn't have strong fundamentals that you can go by. So we limit, majority of people, unfortunately, they limit the crypto industry generally, but most importantly, Bitcoin, just based on its price, right? If its price goes up, Bitcoin is great. If its price goes down, oh, let's sell out and bear market is here, right? So, and this is undermining the technology. It's really undermining the powerful technology of the blockchain technology, because if you're fundamentally strong, you can do way more than that. Why would you focus on the price if price is irrelevant? What happens like it right now? Bitcoin dominates 56%, right? So it's really already has the largest market cap, and liquidity-wise, looking at it just based on cryptocurrency by itself, it is the most liquid also, right? So what else happens with the price? It's only the price that is interesting with Bitcoin, right? It really doesn't burn any tokens. It doesn't give any USDC distributions to its holders, and it doesn't retain any liquidity to facilitate the trades, right? It doesn't do that either. So this is what it's as simple as that. So it really, if you ask the question, what happens if you trade Bitcoin? Really not much. It's not burning tokens. It's not retaining liquidity. It's not accumulating USDC for its holders, right? It's not doing any of that. And meaning it's not using its volume efficiently, right? So that's a really straight cut, easy, right? So, but let's ask the same question when we zoom in here. What happens if you trade Bullrun? What really happens? What's happening if you trade Bullrun? If you trade Bullrun, and we'll do them, you know, we have to do the math. We can't just leave this like this. It has to make sense, right? So keep in mind, Bullrun has 28 billion and nothing happens with it. It just, people just focus on price going up and down, and that's what excites them, right? But what happens if you trade Bullrun? This is what happens if you trade Bullrun. We started with 1 million in supply, like we said. So each time you're trading Bullrun, 1% of the supply is being removed from the total supply, like we just saw. So this supply keeps shrinking. It started with 1 million. Now it's 967. And to really have a better understanding, so far, burned tokens are over 32,500. And it keeps burning with every trade. So each time there is trading going on with Bullrun, it keeps shrinking in supply. So its supply keeps shrinking, as you can see here, right? Let's look at something else. What else happens if you trade Bullrun? If you trade Bullrun, liquidity is being accumulated, right? And we'll come back to this because this is the most important one. So liquidity is being accumulated. Each time you trade Bullrun, more liquidity is being accumulated, 3% to be specific. It's being added into the liquidity pool. This is why you see us having such a healthy liquidity, right? We're only sitting at 900,000 market cap, but we have a 361,000 liquidity. So roughly it's at over 30% right now, 33%, 35% right now, right? Over that, 40%, even close to 40%. And we haven't even gone through a bull market yet, right? And what else happens if you trade? We accumulate USDC distributions. That's also happened. This goes to the community, right? And if you see here, this is our smart contract. If we click on our smart contract and look at it, we see how much USDC has been accumulated just through the trading volume alone, right? This is the USDC that will go towards the community, right? And this is what Vitalik was asking. Where does, here it is. Where does the yield come from, right? And with Uniswap, it comes from even excess tokens, right? Inflation. Ours come from efficiently using our trading volume. That's where it comes from, right? So that's the biggest difference, community, and we need to really understand that. Now let's come back to liquidity. Let's close out with liquidity and with the fourth one, right? The fourth one is efficiently using our volume, right? And we saw how Bitcoin has 28 billion in volume. However, it's not doing anything with it that will bring sustainability to the ecosystem, that brings scarcity to the ecosystem, that adds liquidity to attract more traders, or even accumulating USDC distributions for its holders. It does nothing with its volume, literally nothing, right? So this is why it's very important to this article was so important, because we need to understand that we need our sustainable protocols in this industry. And in order to have sustainable protocols, you need to use your trading volume efficiently. Your trading volume is supposed to help your ecosystem with sustainability through bonds, with liquidity through accumulating them, and through incentives as well, so that you can incentivize the community members, right? And this is through efficient use of your trading volume. So if we look at us having this, and we don't want to use 28 billion, we'll just use just 1 billion, right? And we have to do the math. Let's go back here and do the math. We want to just see how much liquidity will be accumulating, right? With just 1 billion. So let's say we had 1 billion. And remember what we were looking at here, right? Remember what we said. The more liquidity you have, the higher your trading volume. Do you remember we made this example, right? Market cap is irrelevant. You can have a small market cap, but provided, as long as you have large liquidity, your trading volume will be more than Bitcoin and Ethereum combined, right? So this is why when you ask yourself, why is he only calculating liquidity? Because this is the most important, right? This liquidity brings trading volume, right? And this is what we want. So let's do the math. Let's say we have 1 billion. So let's calculate 1%, or 3% of that is 30 million, right? So based on 1 billion in volume, we would be accumulating 30 million every day, right, in liquidity, right? And if we go back here and look at Aave, I'm sure you remember that Aave has 33 million in liquidity, right? And it has 255 million in volume. So we calculated with 4 times more. But nonetheless, you realize that with that volume, in 1 day alone, we would be having the same liquidity like Aave already, right? Just in 1 day, we'll catch up with Aave in 1 day. But let's go back to Bitcoin and let's continue calculating, because we're not interested in just 1 day. Let's do 1 month. So in 1 month, just 1 month, we'll be having 900 million in liquidity, right? So this is why we had to leave Aave alone, because we are in a whole different league now, right? So within a month, we are more in the ballpark of Ethereum, actually, right? Let's go and see Ethereum. Where is Ethereum? How much liquidity does Ethereum have? So Ethereum has 826 million in liquidity. So within a month, community, we'll have surpassed Ethereum's liquidity. We'll be more liquid than the second largest cryptocurrency in the space. Within a month, right? We'll have 900 million in liquidity just within 1 month, 30 days. And Ethereum has accumulated 800 in 9 years, right? So let's go further. We want for the whole year. This is just 30 days. So let's multiply by 12. So this is the whole year, right? So this is over 10 billion in liquidity, almost 11 billion in liquidity. Now, keep in mind, let's go back to Bitcoin. Keep in mind, we didn't take the 28 billion. We just took 1 billion, right, in volume. And within that 1 billion in volume, it will take us 1 year. It would have taken us 1 month to be close to them already, But within a year, like we saw here, we'll be having close to 11 times more liquidity than Bitcoin itself. So we will be 10 times more liquid than Bitcoin. And as we know, Bitcoin is what? The largest cryptocurrency in the world. They're the number one, right? So how come a small community token like Bullrun will have gained more liquidity than the largest cryptocurrency that holds 56% of the entire market? This goes back to the market cap is irrelevant. The market cap is just a bunch of noise. It doesn't really add value to your cryptocurrency. What adds value rather is liquidity, because the more liquidity you have, the more volume you get. Now, let's take this a step further. Keep in mind, this is the liquidity, right? And we identified that the more liquidity you have, the more volume you get, right? So imagine if the liquidity is already at 11 billion. This is just the liquidity. Now, how high will the volume be, right? So I leave this to your imagination. We're not going to speculate here because we are not carried away by prices or market caps, right? We are just carried away by the fundamentals. We focus on fundamentals. We focus on sustainability and efficiency. And this is today's topic, right? And this was this article about that. He says he does not respect unsustainable protocols. So we are definitely not on his bad list, right? So this is how we can stand out in this industry, because we developed a platform that is literally addressing the four main challenges that we've been discussing in this article: unsustainable staking platforms and staking distributions that are inflationary. Those are two. And then lack of liquidity in this industry, right? And inefficient use of volume. We looked at all those four challenges that we are directly addressing. And if we look at the top 10 list, Bitcoin, we saw, is not addressing it. Ethereum is not addressing it. Binance, Solana, they're not addressing any of those four challenges altogether. So this just shows how inefficient and unsustainable the industry still is. And this gives us a head start, right? And this gives us the fast mover advantage that all of these top tokens have. They are where they are today because they're the fast in doing that, right? Bitcoin being the fast cryptocurrency, this is why they still have this head start. Ethereum being the fast smart contract blockchain, they have the head start. Binance being the fast exchange, they have the head start. Solana being the fastest amongst these three blockchains, right? And we can go on and on. Dogecoin being the very, very fast meme coin on Bitcoin, right? And Shiba being the very fast meme coin on Ethereum, and so on and so forth, right? So we understand what the point is. And the more liquidity you have, the higher your volume. And in our case, the higher the volume we have, guess what? The more liquidity we are going to accumulate. We'll even burn even more tokens from total supply. And the most important thing here also, we are going to accumulate USDC for those that are staking. So this way, we now went full circle and identified how sustainable our platform is, how efficient it is, and how it's addressing four major challenges that not even the top 10, let alone top 3 cryptocurrencies are addressing, right? So community, this is it for today. This is the message that I have for us today. Let me come back, bear with me, let me come back and share my screen here. As I promised, I'm going to go through the comments and acknowledge everyone that was able to make it to today's session. Bear with me as I'm setting up the screen here. And then we can call it a session here. Okay, here we are. Commissioner, let me come and read the comments here. I can now take my time as we close. I see. Greetings, community and Brother Steve. WPR says, it is so fortunate of me to have joined this community and to be able to join the YouTube session. Time difference is always something. Yes, we really appreciate you being a part of these sessions, despite the time difference. I know it's like 2 or 3 in the morning on your side, even 4 maybe, and you stood up and to just be part of this event. So you're very much appreciated, WPR. For all your leadership, all that you do, you're very much appreciated. Very, very much. Queen Lati says, Bullrun family, it is a privilege to be part of this ecosystem. Thank you. To our developers, Queen Mother Wino and Brother Steve, take us on, our teacher, and cruise with us to the crypto space. Beautifully said, Queen Lati. You're very much appreciated for all your efforts and your commitment in the community as well. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community. Queen Nancy says, hello, Steve. Good evening, Bull Runners. I'm looking forward to an exciting live stream tonight. Please do not hesitate to take notes and type your questions in the comments. Love and light. Beautifully said. It's always great. Exactly, this is the point of these community events. It's always to ensure that you get the best and the most out of it. If you have any questions, you need more clarity, use these platforms as we do them on 4 different events weekly. Sundays is exclusively for the Queens. We do Monday on Twitter Space. We do Thursdays on YouTube like today, and Saturdays on VC. So make use of these events and inform yourself. If you have any questions, post them. We'll be happy to go through them. Well said, Queen Nancy. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community as well. Thank you for your contributions. My great brother Theo says, greetings, my great brother Steve, dearest Queen Mama Wino, and my sensational Bullrun family. I know that this live stream is going to be epic. As always, sustainability and incentives. Let's go. Beautifully said, my brother Theo. I hope you and yours are well. It's always a pleasure seeing you as well in the community. Queen Evelyn says, hello, Steve. The community is always waiting for this moment to learn from you. We love you. Thank you for all the hard work that you put on this ecosystem to work for us and our children. It's a pleasure. And I'm just part of this community, just like everybody else. I'm just part of this ecosystem as well. I'm just doing my part, my small contribution, just adding it like all of us are doing. And this is what makes this community so special, right? We're all chipping in, we're all adding value to our ecosystem, because it's not a one woman or one man show. It takes all of us to succeed. And we can see that, right? This is why we're so focused on always retweeting, engaging participants, you showing up today, taking your time to be part of this session today. It's all part of the growth of our community. So thank you for your kind words, Queen Evelyn. Very, very much appreciated. Queen Grace says, hello, Steve, Queen Mother, and VRL family. What a privilege to be part of this class. Thanks a lot. It's always a pleasure seeing you also, Queen Grace. It's always a pleasure having you in the community. Thank you also for your contributions and all that you do. Queen Patricia says, hello, family, Mama Wino and Brother Steve. We are happy to be honored with endless educational sessions. Thank you for another blessed day. Thank you too for participating today. You're very, very much appreciated. And thank you also for your feedback and your comments here. And thank you for taking your time for being part of this session today. Hello, Steve, and the entire Bullrun family. It's another great day as we listen to your words of wisdom in this blockchain industry, eager to hear about this sustainable and efficient ecosystem. Always great to see you, Queen Grace. You're all over Twitter, all over social platforms. Your energy is contagious. Thank you for your leadership and your commitment and your consistency. For those who have not yet, please let me remind us to engage with the tweets that are out already. Let's ensure that we put the word out, we highlight and shed light to our ecosystem and our industry so that we can reach as many people as possible. With that said, also, let's not forget to hit the like button so that we can this video can be pushed once more. Like last week's, we reached so many people, and we can highlight our ecosystem and our industry and bring as many people as possible to our ecosystem. We have Queen Maureen as well, says greetings, Brother Steve, Queen Mother and Bullrun family. Another great Thursday, ready to learn and thank God for this amazing ecosystem. Thank you so much for your feedback, Queen Maureen. You're very much appreciated. All your efforts are highly appreciated. We have Queen D says ready for session. Queen Mama Wino and Bro Steve, you are great. May God continue showering blessings for their sacrifice. Thank you so much for your kind words. Very, very much appreciated. You're very much appreciated for being part of this session today. My brother Anto says there is no crypto project out there that has futures like BRL. BRL is the first mover, and BRL, along with the killer whale and survivor, will print many billionaires. That's absolutely right. It's always good to take opportunities. We have to be opportunists. This is a brand new industry. It's a brand new industry, and this brand new technology. We are at the early stages of innovation. Everybody's still trying to find ways how to add value to their communities, or to, through their protocols. And we have a head start here. 2 years ago, we developed this project in 2021, right? So we have a 2-year, almost 3-year head start come November. And we already have a proven concept too. We've been through 2 years through bear markets, and we've proven that the concept works, right? So the only thing we haven't done yet is to go through the easy bull market, where there's so much liquidity and the high raising tide raises all boats, right? Going through a bull market is easy, right? Everything looks perfect and so easy, and it looks like everybody's a genius because there's money and liquidity everywhere, right? But it's after the bull market, or actually rather even during the bull market, that you need strong fundamentals. Because as we are going through this bull market, you need to be part of an ecosystem that, like we just discussed today's session, that is efficient and sustainable by addressing those 4 challenges that we face. Meaning we are busy. There's lack of liquidity, but we are busy accumulating liquidity. There is unsustainable staking platforms that we are busy. We are sustainable and using our volume efficiently, right? And then also there's inflation happening everywhere because these tokens keep issuing even more tokens through staking rewards, right? But our supply actually keeps shrinking, right? So we actually providing more scarcity. So you see how we have developed a platform that is literally putting the community's best interest at heart, right? And well said, Brother Anto. That's exactly the point. We always want to be the first mover in being the most efficient, the most sustainable, the most liquid, the most scarce, and the one that gives the most sustainable staking distributions, right? And these are the points that will really put us on the map. We have Queen Ernest, greetings to my beloved Bullrun family. Greetings right back to you too. We have Queen Mother Wino says, greetings, my queens and kings. Hope all is well with you and your loved ones. Ready for another educational and informative session. Thank you, Steve, for all your efforts and commitment. Thank you so much for your kind words. We also appreciate your leadership. We appreciate all that you do, Queen Mother Wino, with the queens, and also in general. We really appreciate you. You are a leader by example, and your kind and loving heart is infectious to all of us. We all appreciate you very, very much. Queen Patricia says, good evening, family. Good evening, Steve. I'm happy to be here again to listen and get more empowered. Thank you, Steve, for your commitment and dedication. Stay blessed always. Thank you so much for your kind words, Queen Patricia. It's always a pleasure seeing you. I wonder what other sport that you're watching right now. Share it with us as well. And I'm sure you're keen. You watch the way the Champions League groups are being put together today. So I'm sure I hope your team is in the right groups as well, Queen Patricia. So here we are. We have Queen Tomeletso. Greetings, Brother Steve, Queen Mother Wino, and the entire Bullrun family, ready for today's session. Thank you for being part of this session today. You are very much appreciated. And welcome to the community. Queen Brisha says greetings to you all. Many, many greetings back to you too, Queen Brisha. It's a pleasure having you here with us today. We have Queen Esther says, Shalom, Brother Steve. I'm so happy to be part of this community. We are very, very pleased and humbled to have you with us today, Queen Esther. And I feel right at home. And we are happy to have you in this community with us today. Thank you for taking your time and being part of this session today. Queen Cozy says, greetings, Mama Wino, Brother Steve, and the entire Bullrun family. Grateful to be in such a sustainable and efficient ecosystem. Looking forward to yet another inspirational session. Blessings to everyone. Thank you so much, Queen Cozy. It's always a pleasure also seeing you in the community. You are very, very much appreciated. We have Brother Mike here. Says, greetings, family. Happy to be here today again. We're always happy to have you also here, Brother Michael. And it's a pleasure seeing you in the community. It's such a pleasure. Thank you for taking your time and being part of this session today. We have Queen Resego says, hello, family. It's yet another special day as we gather here to learn from the best. We are so proud of you, our King, Brother Steve. Thank you so much, Queen Resego. You are very much appreciated. All your efforts are very much appreciated. Queen Joyce says, greetings, the winning team. Shalom, Steve and Mama Wino. Absolutely. Winning is all we want, right? Winning is all we do. And we do it as a collective, as a unit. And there's no better way to go through this bull cycle than with us as a community. And winning together is the most fun, right? Queen Botua says, evening, family. Hope we all good and happy to meet again. Love you all. You're very much appreciated. Thank you for your time. Welcome to the community. And the honor is ours as well. And we all appreciate you as well. Queen Shinoga says, greetings, Brother Steve, Mother Wino, and the entire family. Glad to be part of today's informative session. I love every bit of these sessions. Keep enlightening us. Thank you so much for your feedback. It goes a long way. And it's very good to hear. It's very humbling to hear that these sessions are helpful to all of you, and that you can take away. You have you can take away some good information that will help you to be firm in your decision making, to be more confident about yourself, and that whole point. Patricia. That community had some technical issues. Again. Sorry about that. I hope you can hear me now. Queen Patricia was asking a question here. A very, very good question here. Money supply and interest rates have an inverse relationship, Brother Steve. Do you think the Federal will start printing money immediately after cutting the rates to uplift the M2 global growth? This is an amazing question. Amazing question. Based on the information that we have so far, it's literally just a matter of time. But next month on the 18th, September 18th, the Feds are supposed to cut the interest rates. The market already has priced this in, and people are already looking at it as 100% event that is going to take place, because even Jerome Powell, when he spoke this week, he clearly said that it's time for the cuts, right? And so we're all anticipating that on the 18th, we'll finally get that start. Usually what happens is markets really pick up by the end of the year. End of the year, the fourth quarter of the year is usually the year when the markets really start picking up. And as we discussed today, liquidity plays a major role. And as we know, like Queen Patricia nicely put it here, once the interest rates start getting cut, that's when the printing starts, right? That's when the Federal Reserve starts printing money immediately. And then that is usually going to stimulate the industry and stimulate the market. And as we know, crypto being the most lucrative, I should say, or the fastest growing industry, most individuals will come and spend their money in the crypto space, right? So that's exactly what's going to happen. And as far as the M2 global growth, ironically, the M2 has been already growing, and that's been an indicator as well, because like you rightly said, you can always look at the M2 global supply, and if you see it rising, and it's been rising, you realize that, okay, we are really approaching a way, or some people know things before we know it, right? The insiders know something that we don't know yet. And we've been seeing those moves, those shifts happening. We've been seeing people accumulating more assets, knowing that the bottom has been hit. And with the M2 supply growing, with the interest rates coming, and the Fed's about to cut the interest rates, and the stimulating of the economy coming in, this is all playing into our hands, right? And this is all good news for us. So great question, Queen Patricia. Welcome to the community, Queen Denflix. I hope you are comfortable and are happy with our community. We ensure that you join our Telegram groups, follow us on Twitter, and be part of our community. Queen Patricia says, what impact would Bank Social have by joining blockchain industry? So what impact banks would have by joining blockchain industry? It will be, the impact they would have is multitude. Let's start with, first of all, if we just look at the banking as a business itself, they will be so much more efficient. Unfortunately, they'll be able to lay off a lot of people, because crypto projects, or doing your projects on a blockchain, you are actually using smart contracts, right? So instead of human activities, you can actually have or code smart contracts to do what humans actually would be doing, right? And with smart contracts, the beautiful thing about smart contracts, they don't get tired, they don't need no vacation, they're not asking for any raises, right? And you don't have to worry about all these extra expenses for the retirement plans and insurance and all of that. So banks using blockchain, there will be a lot of layoffs going on, and the companies will be more efficient, right? So they'll be able to generate more revenues for themselves. They'll be able to operate on a much more global scale. They'll be operating 24/7, because blockchain never sleeps, right? And there's just so many great things for the banks themselves. And on the regulatory side, if you look at the US, for example, banks, once the regulations are passed, will be able to issue stable coins. They'll be issued to purchase cryptocurrencies. They'll be able to even custody cryptocurrencies. So that opens more revenue sources for the banks as well. So either way we look at it, it will be very lucrative for the banks, and it will be very efficient for the banks. And because they already have licenses and are being regulated by the SEC, they can also issue their own stable coins. And as we know, stable coins are very lucrative. So it's a win for them, definitely. So this is what they want, right? And it will be also good for us, because it will bring mainstream adaptation to the masses, right? Even though not on a decentralized way like we would love to. However, eventually, I'm sure after the learning curve, these individuals will also venture into DeFi protocols such as ours. But those are the main things that the banks impact that will cause on a much more global scale. Definitely. Amazing question, Queen Patricia. Very, very good question. Queen Cynthia says, greetings, community members. Hi, Steve. Thanks for always providing these educative sessions. Thank you so much for your feedback, Queen Cynthia. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community. My brother Abdullah says, warm greetings to you all. Warm greetings right back to you too, my brother Abdullah. You're very much appreciated for all the efforts you put in, your comments. You and other community members are really doing amazing work, excellent, and I always have a smile on my face getting the opportunity to read on your comments, your feedbacks. It's always a pleasure. Queen Mel says, another day of learning more about cryptocurrency and our Bullrun life. Thank you so much, Queen Mel. I hope you are doing better. Our prayer still goes out to you. You're very much appreciated. Thank you for your feedback, and thank you for taking your time for being part of this session today as well. It's always a pleasure seeing you. Queen T says, hello family, happy to be here as always. Thank you, our dear brother and mom, for giving us another chance to face the future with hope. Powerful information indeed. Thank you so much for taking your time and being part of this session today. You're very, very much appreciated. Queen Mel says, greetings to you all Bullrun ecosystem members. Greetings, Steve. Greetings, Queen Mother. And greetings back to you as well. And this is, I guess, where my audio went off. So a lot of almost everyone said, gave me that feedback. And then Brother Glenn says, this community is strong. Bullrun Live platform and ecosystem is strong, and the chart, the staking percentage shows it. And soon the overall crypto community will see what Steve has built. Thank you very much for your feedback, Brother Glenn. Always a pleasure reading from you as well. Brother Theo says, calculator time. Absolutely. You know, we can't go through a session without the calculator. You know, we have to pull it out just to flex, you know, on other ecosystems to show that we're literally sustainable and efficient, and just to calculate some numbers out there. Thank you for your feedback. I see Brother Dave is also all for it, and Brother Glenn is also for it. How you been, Brother? Great seeing you. Brother Dimo says the snowball is starting to pick up more speed and growing in mass. Absolutely. This is very, very true. Queen Esther says this was very good. I'm beginning to understand how it all works out. This is a very good feedback. You know, this is great to hear, because the whole purpose of these sessions are to put us all on the same play level field, right? We all want to be on the same page, so that we informed, educated, and inspired as a community, and we know how to operate on this platform and how to make the best use of it, right? So thank you for your feedback, Queen Esther. I'm glad that these sessions are helping. Queen Bogo says, hi, Steve and the community. Really appreciate, very educative as always. Every time I learn something new. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you so much, Queen Bogo. You're very, very much appreciated. Thank you for your feedback, and thank you for being part of this session today. Queen Lati says, calculator time is interesting, King Theo. Absolutely. I see the community likes the calculations. Queen Wangechi says, hello, Steve. Thanks for the hard work you put into the course. I would like to express my thankfulness to you and for your wonderful lessons in this class. I also want to thank our Queen Mama so much. Thank you so much, Queen Wangechi. Very, very much appreciated. Thank you for your feedback. It's very much appreciated. And we're just doing our part as community members, you know, and this is exactly what the ecosystem is all about. Everybody's chipping in and adding value as we grow. So thank you for your feedback, and always a pleasure seeing you in the community as well. Queen Aloshi says, hello, Bullrun family. Thanks, Brother Steve, for selfless support you and Mom Awino put to see us succeed. God bless you abundantly. Can we get some light on what happens in a Bullrun cycle, kindly? Absolutely. First of all, thank you for your feedback. Welcome to the community. It's a pleasure having you here with us. And yes, the light of what happens in a Bullrun cycle. Bullrun cycle is very special. And to really just bring it to the point, Queen Aloshi, bull cycle is when, like earlier, Queen Patricia, the question she asked, right? During a bull cycle, a lot of things happen before it really starts. And one of those things are interest rate cuts, because like we learned today, liquidity, we need liquidity for the bull cycle to be triggered, right? And liquidity is actually what runs a smooth economy. So without it, there are no transactions, right? So first things that usually happen, and it works like clockwork. There's always interest rate cuts. After that, the markets get stimulated with fiat currencies, right? And then it gets flooded into investment vehicles, right? And mainly it will come into the cryptocurrency because it's the youngest, most lucrative asset class right now that everybody's so thrilled and excited about, right? And this is exactly what happens, is that there'll be a period where there's just so much liquidity entering the market that you just being part of the market yourself, it will raise all other protocols, all other projects with it, right? Because there's so much liquidity coming into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and other blockchains as well. And then it goes down to smaller projects, right? And individuals always aim for active communities such as ours that is very engaged, very active, very involved. And this is the reason why we do these 4 weekly events. This is why we educate, inform, we take our time to inspire the community and guide them as we go through this crypto journey, encouraging them to participate, engage, because this is the way we bring awareness. And it's in human nature that people like to be with winners, right? People like to be with communities, part of communities that are active, that are engaging. People like to be with ecosystems that are actually solving challenges, right? That are usually having the solutions to the challenges. People want to be part of ecosystems, like Vitalik said in today's articles, that are sustainable, that are efficient, right? And we are addressing all of that. So that will help us as we go through this cycle of liquidity. During a bull cycle, a lot of money enters the community, the industry, and we are poised to take advantage of that. And everybody else that is in this industry will benefit from it just by the mere fact that they're just in the industry alone, right? So in a nutshell, that's exactly what we can expect, Queen Aloshi. It's going to be a marvelous time. And this is what everybody's looking forward to. And it goes beyond the crypto space. It will hit the real estate market. It will hit the stock markets, bond markets. Once liquidity enters the space, everything is booming. It's a short period, but very intense. And there's just so much money around and everything is just flourishing. That's the best way I can describe it. Queen Patricia says, thank you very much, Brother Steve, for answering my questions. I want to thank you for posing these questions and bringing them up so that we can discuss publicly. Very, very much appreciated. They were very, very well asked questions, and I believe we all benefited from it. Brother Dave says, do you think we will ever see secondary security added to wallets, like two-step authentication? Actually, most wallets have that already, Brother Dave. Like, for example, that's something that most wallets already have. Like, for example, crypto.com wallet, the DeFi wallet also has that. Coinbase has that as well. And you can add the two-factor authenticator. And if I'm not mistaken, this is actually something that we ought to really use. We ought to use it because security, like we discussed at the beginning, a lot of hacks, a lot of scams are happening in the industry, and there are already wallets out there that have the two-step authenticator actually already. And I'm actually using that two-part authenticator for my crypto.com wallet, for example. So they're already here, Brother Dave. It's already out. This would help in your seed phrases became compromised. They would still not be able to access your wallet. Absolutely. And one thing also, it's not just limited to the wallets. Remember how the SEC's Twitter account was compromised because they didn't use the two-step authenticator, so it goes beyond the crypto wallets. So it's a really important security step that I believe, and I really look forward to be the standard for all wallets, but majority of them, especially the major ones, already have them, and I'm glad they do, because it brings an extra layer of security, definitely. So community, thank you so much for all your feedbacks. Thank you for being part of this session today. As we see, the comments are becoming longer and longer. There's so many participants in the community. And we can't stress enough of how grateful we are, how we are growing, how engaging everything is. So we are very glad about that. I see I missed Uncle George. Says, hello, Steve and Bullrun family. Glad to flock together to enjoy the educational session of today. Always a pleasure seeing you in the community, Uncle George. Thank you for your feedback and for taking your time and being part of this session today. Brother Theo also says, Glenn, always great seeing you and the entire family here as well. I'm so very proud of you all for continuing strong, united for one common goal, and we will make it together. No one left behind. There is no better way than to close out a session than with this phase right here. We are in it together, and we have one common goal, and we are going to make sure that we reach our goals. Actually, we exceed our goals, right? So community, I want to thank you all once more for being part of this session today. I also want to welcome all the new members. Feel right at home. It's a pleasure having you all here. I want to thank you for your feedbacks, for your questions, for your inputs. I want to thank also N2B2S for the Twitter post that you made that we used for today's session. I encourage all of us to share what they learned, what they read about with us, so we can discuss it and even make it a topic like today, right? This is our community, so everybody's chipping in and adding value in their own best way possible, right? With that said, I want to wish us all a wonderful rest of your week. It's been a pleasure today. I apologize for the technical difficulties that been happening on my side here, but I hope the message came across. With that said, I want to wish you all a blessed, wonderful rest of your day. Stay focused, stay healthy, stay vigilant. With much power comes a lot of responsibility as well. And let's ensure that we keep our wallets safe and secure. Let's ensure that we remain focused and vigilant and consistent. For everybody that was able to make it today, you are all very much appreciated. Thank you for participating today. Let's keep pushing. Let's ensure that we hit the likes, we comment on this video so that it pushes the algorithms to as many people as possible. Let's ensure also, for those who have not yet, let's engage with the tweets. It's very important, and it will reach as many people as possible and bring awareness to our ecosystem. With that said, thank you very much, community. You are all very much appreciated. And till we see you again, bye-bye, everyone.